All right, it's Super Centex After Dark. I think DJ Ramirez will be joining us momentarily, but I'm here with Chad Conine, Michael Haig. We had a couple other writers out tonight as well. Art
Is
Strickland.
Michael actively driving?
Yes,
All
but I'm fine.
right.
Please be careful.
Last week we had you might be stuck in traffic on I-35. I got stuck on the way home from La
If
Vega
if
tonight.
he's traveling 35, he's
No,
coming home the wrong way.
yeah, no, I had smooth sailing on Highway 84, so
Oh,
no
Gatesville.
issues.
Yeah.
Should pull over at Coach's in Gatesville. It's closed, but that would be an appropriate place to podcast from. I think
That
you're
I
getting
I should
pulled
have done
over
that.
right now, actually.
Nope.
Don't jinx him. Uh, all right, Michael, concentrate on the road for a few minutes. Chad, you got a state ranked matchup, Salina La Vega, and
Yeah, yeah. And it lived up to it too.
yeah, tell us about it.
Um, they're both really good. Neither both of them were having trouble stopping the other, and you can tell. I mean, it was kind of an iron sharpens iron game. Those two teams are going to be around, I think, deep in the playoffs. Uh, I wrote in my story that La Vega fans kind of not. I'm not saying get used to losing because a lot of these games are going to go either way, but get used to it not being easy for a while, right? Because they play West Orange Stark next week. West Orange Stark isn't ranked right now, but then it's number 7 Brownwood in 4AD1, and then number 1 Stephenville in 4AD1. So that's three of the top 7 in the division up that La Vega is playing. So you know, nobody likes to lose, and I'm sure Coach Hyde is not gonna, just shrug it off. He's gonna, get his team ready to win games and not just be proud of itself for being in games. But La Vega had a lot of, La Vega had a lot of good things going for them tonight. They just couldn't quite sometimes get the push they needed up front on the defensive side to get Salina stopped. They did get one. They did get one break. They had a fourth down and 8, or fourth down and goal from the 8. Right. This is kind of a crazy play, and the ball got snapped too early, and Javen Hernandez, the quarterback, went and chased it down. The ball scrambled around, and I guess La Vega recovered, but it doesn't really matter because they called a penalty on Solana for clapping at the line of scrimmage and mimicking the snap clap, right? The snap count. So they call it that's a delay of game. And so now instead of it being, you know, Solana's ball, it's fourth and goal from the 4 for La Vega. And they throw Hernandez threw a pass to Jabari Thornton. He caught it with a defender on him and reached out over the goal line. I actually got a good photo of it that I sent to
Nice.
Rod. I guess it probably is going to run with the story at some point. Anyway, and that tied the game at 21 all. So yeah, it's like little plays like that kind of help keep them in the game. And then fourth quarter, Salina has a third and goal from the 25 after a sack by the La Vega defense. And darn if that quarterback didn't get away and run 25 yards for a touchdown. So now instead of it being 34 or 35 to 27, or maybe they kick a field goal, now it's 42 to 27. Uh, so that's kind of how it just out of reach for La Vega tonight in the fourth quarter.
Um, I talked to Don Hyde recently, maybe a week or I don't remember how long when it was last week. And I was asking him about the non-district schedule, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, he was like, "Look, it's it's one of the cons of being good. Nobody wants to play you." He said the pro of being good is that you're good, but the con of being
Right.
good is that it's hard to find games,
And that's what everybody says. It's kind of I guess it's true. I mean, do they want to go play 5A schools? And 5A schools want to get beat by a 4AD2? And But I mean, the only teams that'll play you are ranked teams a division up. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, and it's obviously something Don Hyde and the Pirates have dealt with. It's something obviously Mart has dealt with, on the
Yeah,
two A
yeah,
level.
yeah.
But I feel like those teams are going to be better for it in the long run. Um,
True.
so
Hey,
these
DJ.
y'all's three, yeah, hi DJ. Y'all's three games all sort of followed a similar pattern in that the local team that we cover hung around for a while, and the other team that we don't cover
The other
won.
highly ranked team.
Yes, the highly ranked team won. So rather than continue that theme, which we will, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about Midway because maybe Midway should be ranked pretty soon. I mean, they're not beating world beaters, but okay, they're looking good, y'all.
Okay, and they do a top 25 in 6A, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Um, if they keep it up, I mean, I could definitely see it. They take the opening kickoff back 96 yards to the house. Jesse Satterfield. It was a great play. He just found a seam and just, went. It's not related to the kicker from last year. Different Satterfield. And, straight cash, homie, cash pulling. He was good. Lathan Wissington ran for 3 touchdowns. It was 30-0 before Cedar Ridge got on the board, and then the third quarter happened, and it was sloppy. And Midway had 2 punts blocked. One of them was by Cash Pullen. It was a play they just should have sent the actual punter out there for. But it got real sloppy, and Midway wasn't really doing much. And it got to 30-14 at like the first play of the fourth quarter. And you're like, okay, this is a 2-score game now. Are they going to let them back in it? And here's the thing, it's a freaking cliche, but defense travels. Midway's defense is going to win them a lot of games because they're doing all this right now without Donovan Jones, their Oklahoma State commit, who is a stud, but he's been out with a hamstring. And yet they're flying around, they're sacking the quarterback, they swarmed the ball real well. I mean, this is a really fun Midway defense. Carlos Talton is a great pass rusher. Lincoln Fisher is doing a great job. And then DJ asked this question, and yes, Chauncey King used to be at Chilton, now is at Midway, and this is a 2A kid that went to a 6A school, and he is starting and playing lights out. He had a sack tonight. So yeah, I mean, they are legit. Have they played anybody state ranked yet? No, but they've also beat the pants off of the two teams they've played. So, it's 44-14 tonight. So, good for the Panthers, 2-0.
2 weeks from
Um,
now, they got Mansfield. Looks like a pretty decent Mansfield team.
that's 2 weeks. They got Leander Rouse next week.
Yeah, 2 weeks. That's what I said.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're at home next week against Leander Rouse and then on the road to Mansfield. And somebody else can cover that game. I'll be on my way to Colorado. Although it is, I think, on a Thursday night. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. Um Michael got to experience the joy of the Gatesville press box. And he was telling us before we officially went on the air that it lived up to the hype.
Well, without a doubt, it did. I had high expectations going in. Everyone hypes it up statewide, really. Anyone who's ever been to Gatesville says it's incredible. And yeah, the folks there are awesome. Good people. Great food, better people. I'll put it that way.
Did you
But
have
but
like
but
a
man,
half barbecue chicken? Was that what I saw on your plate?
yeah. I mean, I don't even fully know what was on my plate and what was at my disposal. I just grabbed a little bit of what I could see, what I could find. I mean, it was all so good. Some people, I don't know if y'all are barbecue sauce people. I just like my meat the way it is. I mean, I'll just eat
Mm.
it. It was plenty
Ooh.
flavorful. Man, it was fantastic. I can't say enough good things about that. But the football game itself was pretty good too. I mean, um, Gatesville, man, Gatesville really came out strong. I know DJ had talked to Coach Hunter earlier this week, and I mean, Gatesville's going to play its kind of slow and methodical style of football. It's like your Air Force or your Army at the college level. They're going to pound the rock and 8-minute drives. I mean, they're just going to run it down your throat, and it was working in the first half. They limited possessions. It helped that they got 2 stops on a state ranked offense that Glen Rose is, but they also capitalized. I mean, they scored. They were able to chip in with a field goal as well, and then obviously Rayshawn Smith is unbelievable. There were so the way I don't know if y'all I'm sure y'all have seen him before. I mean, the way this was my first time seeing him, and he's so patient in the backfield. He kind of takes it, and it just reminds me so much of Le'Veon Bell when he was with the Steelers. Like you're looking and you're like, what is he doing? Why is he just chilling back there? He's just standing back there, and you're like, surely this is not going to work. I mean, he's just standing around back there, but it's not that he's just standing around. He's just waiting, and that offensive line was just working so hard to get him holes. And I mean, he just once he gets to that, I guess it would be the first level, but into the second level, he's really got a quick burst, and he's so strong that he's just going to fall forward every time. So yeah, he was killing them in the run game, and yeah, it was tough for Glen Rose to stop, and there were just so many times where it looked like he was going to go down for a loss, and he would rip off a 20-yard run. He even had he had a 47-yard touchdown down the right sideline that was just it felt like it shouldn't have happened, and then he had ripped off like a 61-yard run that he could have scored if he didn't cramp up on it. But anyway, yeah, he was phenomenal. He did probably everything he could in this game, and Coach Hunter had said after the game, we've got to do more around him. We can't just solely rely on him, especially when you play a game like that. You get off to the start you want. You're kind of controlling the game, but then when the offense goes cold, and they had 3 turnovers on offense too. Once you start having those mistakes, and when your style is built to win when you're ahead, once you're down, man, get you in trouble. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. The Tigers scored on their 3 opening drives of the second half and just kind of ran away with it.
Did they get
Particularly
the
in the
ball to start
passing
the
game.
second half?
No, yes, Gatesville did. So they
Oh,
had
Gatesville
they
got
had
it
the
in
nine.
the second half.
Yes,
Yeah.
so they had won the toss and deferred, and so I'm
Mhm.
thinking, man, I mean, they could take a 2-score lead here, to open the third quarter. But I think if I remember, I'd have to go back and look at my play-by-play. I think they had like a bad snap on one of the first
Mhm.
first plays, and so they were like backed up to their 2 because they started at the 20, and then they
Mhm.
just like had a bad snap. It backed them up into their own 10, and it was ultimately a 3-and-out, and they had to get rid of it. Yeah, and once they gave it up and Glen Rose scored, you could kind of feel that momentum shift. And again, I mean, once I think Gatesville did score a field goal right after that or soon after that. So it was like, hey, all right, they're hanging in there. But again, I mean, when the Tigers just jump out to 3 straight scoring drives to open the second half, it kind of became overwhelming. And when you have a team that's kind of built to play ahead, it just didn't really work out for them in the end. But a good effort against the
Um,
number 2 ranked team, though.
there's going to be some fun running backs in that district with
Oh yeah,
him and Bryson Rowland and
oh yeah,
Braden Ford had a good week. Conley last week.
yeah,
The other thing about the food in the press box, and I said this
yeah.
earlier, I really think that the Texas legislature should recognize Gatesville and their service to
Their historic
statewide
service.
community.
Put a
It's
golden
because
plaque up in that press box.
there's no upside for them doing it except for that everybody loves it, and we in the media love it.
Well, and
Yep,
we would absolutely write about it if they did.
Mm-hmm.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
yep.
DJ and her mood lighting are on the anchor leg tonight.
I'm still here parked next to the Lorena baseball field.
Okay.
This
Well,
game took forever. I
but
felt like I was getting in the United Nations meeting with the amount of flags that were thrown tonight.
A
nice,
little
nice.
flag reference. Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
like the cherry bomb. Uh,
There are more
so
flags in the Model UN.
so it was a slow moving game, but the Leopards also hung around for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, no, for 3 quarters. And talking to Kevin Johnson after the game, he was like so riled up, man.
Mm.
Because for 3 quarters they were in it. They're coming. They scored right at the end of the third quarter to make it a 3-point deficit because no, Malakoff went into the half leading by 3 points, and then they scored another touchdown in the third quarter, and so Lorena came back and cut it down again. But then I don't know, they kind of just fizzled out in the fourth quarter, and part of that was because of all of the flags and things got a little testy here and there. It was like there was 2 drives, that one that at the end of the third quarter, and then the first one of the fourth quarter where Malakoff came back and scored to get back ahead. It was like 9 penalties in those 2 drives combined, and that was 9 of 29, right? Like the first half was long because Malakoff kept getting all the flags, but then in the second half it was both teams just picking up penalties on both sides, and
Were they like false starts? Were they dead ball,
there
unsportsmanlike, or?
there was a lot of holding penalties.
Mm.
And there was quite a few like personal fouls. And I think at that point it was just because everybody was just so frustrated, you
Mm.
know.
I wonder if that crew thought they were getting paid by the flag.
Probably, I don't know. It felt more like they had thrown like 40 flags at by the fourth quarter. I only counted 29. I don't even know.
29 is a lot of freaking flags.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, but I mean,
Sometimes, like especially being down on the field, like you, they start throwing them, and you start to realize there's 22 guys on the field. And I don't know if this is a flaw of this great game that we cover so much, but there's 22 guys on the field. Any one of them can cause a penalty at any time on any play.
True that. Sometimes they run around and get away with some stuff, but
no, yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Like
I mean, I had a clapping penalty in my game, so
a clap. Oh wow. Go on, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, right? They started off they went 3-and-out, but then in that next drive, Malakoff fumbles at the goal line, and Lorena recovers it, and they go and they score, and sorry, I'm still feeling a little gross. But they've got like the sort of quarterback platoon going on right now with Brady Schmidhammer and Jackson Blanchett, where Brady's kind of the passing guy and Jackson's like the run, like he was putting up some really good runs, but he was also coming down with a lot of great catches whenever he was at wide receiver. And yeah, I feel like there's still something that needs to be figured out there, right? Because Brady has been injured for the past 2 seasons, so he doesn't really have a lot of like that maturity at quarterback that you would expect from a senior quarterback. And Jackson Blanchett is a sophomore, and he's tall as heck, man. I don't know if you've ever seen him play basketball last season, but he's real tall. So it's like he's really good, at receiver, and he was putting up some good runs, but I just feel like they don't have the experience, right? Like Lorena's still a really young team. They lost all these guys. But they played real tough, and I thought they had more yards than they did, but
it's a really good sign for them though that I don't know. I didn't have a feel for the school they played last week, but to turn around and really have a good game against Malakoff, even though it's a division smaller, it's a really good sign that they're in the game. And like you said, Kevin, you said Coach Johnson was riled up, meaning he wasn't happy that they didn't finish it. But but at least they were in position, and
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it,
Malakov's really good.
yeah, no, and he said, he's really proud of the team and the way that they
Mm-hmm.
played for most of the game. Obviously, they just have, a lot of young guys and they couldn't finish the game. And their non-district, their whole schedule is a gauntlet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Austin Regents was a state finalist, right? That the first
Mm-hmm.
Malakoff is a state title holder. They're playing Franklin next week, and then Cameron Yo, and then they go
Yeah.
into district against La Vega, China Spring, Gatesville,
Well, that's
Connolly.
the theme. Before you got, I think I don't know if you got on in time to hear me talking about the what La Vega's got left in their non-district. So
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this game other than it was just long and you know kind of gritty and it got
I'm kind
testy.
of worried you're going to get locked into the parking lot there. Are you out of the parking lot
No,
yet?
dude, I didn't even park in the parking lot. I'm parked on the grass next to the baseball field because
I
when I
know, but like sometimes they
were
have gates
delegated.
and lock you in. Like I'll feel better when you're like when I know you're not locked
Well,
in, right?
before she leaves, well, first of all, I'll just say this. It sounds to me, I think that, you know, both Lorena and Gatesville and La Vega playing these highly ranked teams, they're going to take some lessons out of they all stayed in these games. They're going to be better in the long run for these games. I mean, they'll learn some stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
before DJ goes, let's back it up a night and give it up for the Waco High
Oh
Lions.
my gosh, dude.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
game, it was actually like so well, first of all, Corsicana is not good. But Waco High played really well, and did all the right things. And even like talking to Coach Helt after the game, he was just like, everybody seemed so happy, right? And I mean, there was Mason Smith is a heck of a running back, and the Lions are just they're I feel like they're more mature, right? Like they've got a ton of seniors. They've gone through 3 years of just not being able to put things together. And obviously that loss to Granbury, a 3-0 loss was I got it
Humbling,
really
yeah.
demoralizing and humbling,
Well, and
right?
we were kind of making fun of him last week, and I don't know if Coach Helt would have watched the podcast or not. Probably not. He probably has better things to do than listen to what we had to
Yeah.
say about it, and us making fun of him. But
I
I'm
mean, and
proud
this
of him
game,
for
there was
for
a
proving
lightning
us
delay
wrong.
before the game, so like,
Yeah.
on top of everything, but um, yeah, I mean, of course, Canada was another team that just kept picking up penalties and they had a ton of turnovers and but Waco didn't let that distract them, and that was I'm so happy I got to cover that game because it was such a good win. And it's funny, I was riding down the elevator and some of the guys that were working like video upstairs, they were talking about how yeah, I know we saw some university players and they were like even they were impressed and blah blah right. So I mean,
Nice.
I don't think they'll be university, but I feel like if they keep going and doing the right things and if they're on the right track, they're gonna be really good. They gotta figure out their special team situation. They had a special teams touchdown with Chase Rayner, who was really, really like he caught it in space and just found the gap and like took off. But their punting and their kicking is not
Not
great.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, like the field, like if Corsicana had been a better team, they would have capitalized on that field position.
What's
I'm just
unusual about that is Waco High has, a generally pretty strong soccer program, so maybe they need to uh, go to Coach Lopez and see if he's got some soccer
yeah.
dudes that can help in the kicking and the punting game. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was their quarterback, RJ Young, was the one that was punting. And I was like, they're such they kind of just like arc up and then come down, like I'm like, you're not kicking it at the right point for it to like go forward. And I mean the
it's like that scene in Major League, which I know DJ at one point said she hadn't even freaking seen, but Chad, it's too high. It's too high.
Uh,
You know what I'm talking about? The home run where they're sitting in the bleachers and the fans will go, "Oh, that's too high. It's too high." And the other guy's like, "Too high? What does that mean? Too high?"
Hey, I don't remember that scene, but I brought up Night at the Roxbury last week, so I can't really
Major
talk.
League's a much better movie than Night at the Roxbury.
I don't
All
know.
right, we
I
need to
don't
let
know.
DJ and Michael get back on the road, drive safely.
Well, let's give a shout out to a couple more schools that got their first win of the season. Mart won in overtime tonight. China Spring beat Bastrop for their first win of the year, right? Right. And I think there was one other that I spotted. Obviously, Waco High, we talked about that. West beat up on Addison Trinity Christian. So
nice.
I'm sure it feels good for those guys to be in the win column.
Yep. And like I said, Midway Panthers get to 2-0. Someone who is a listener now of the podcast, I heard this tonight, is Cash Pullen. So make it rain, Cash. Make it rain,
Well, we
baby.
said he had such an awesome rapper name last week. So
all right, peace out, y'all.
all right.